And yes, we are live and streaming. Um, the topics I'm going to talk about: the government programs, the cowardly acts, not revolution. Now we are evalu. It's now we are evaluations. So let me get into these topics real quick. Once again, you hear that down on the corner. I produced that. That's on multiple streaming platforms, music streaming platforms. Also, it's free on SoundCloud. So if you want to play that, go ahead. Free on SoundCloud. You got to pay nothing. Just drinking one of these buzz balls. Pause. All right, so we're gonna let the music play in the background. So yeah, the government programs, and I'm going to talk about what I mean by this. One of the government programs I've been watching recently is a lot of loan programs, a lot of PPP loan programs, a lot of I guess startup company program loans, just a lot of different loans that are giving out lump sums of large amounts of money. Now, me myself, I have a small business, just a little business, a little trademark. Um, I don't have tons of employees, but I do have relatives that, I sometimes try to give a little bread to for helping me out for do certain things with my company. Um, and just things of that nature. But some people, they're getting loans based upon companies they don't even own, that don't even exist. And these government programs during 2020 to 21 to 22, or probably even before that, I would say probably in 2019, they've been handing out over, I think it was like $4.2 billion. Um, that's crazy. So you had over multiple groups of people that were just scamming. They had so much scam done to these government programs. I would say the food stamp program, people were scamming on that. I found it was people incarcerated getting food stamps that wasn't even, you know, people was using people's names that were incarcerated. They were using people's names that were deceased. So the government programs have been attacked over and over. You had the PPP loan program that was attacked. You had the unemployment government program, because that's the program ran by the government too. Also, too, unemployment insurance. That was hit for, I think, in California. I think it was close to 80 million, or probably even more. Could have been like a billion. I think 1 billion. So these government programs are who's running them? How is it that we have AI technology? We have all this advanced um mechanical machinery that can give you information in less than a second, and reply back to you. We have Chat GPT. We use an AI quantum information that calculates everything, but somehow they're letting fraudulent people slip through the system and get tons of money through these programs. I just see multiple different how can I state this? Um Shows on television right now depicting multiple people, multiple people, multiple that were just pretty much getting tons of loans. Tons of loans. So the government programs themselves are just they're not efficient anymore like they used to be. Like back in the days when I was to have into my fire season, we would be able to get unemployment. So we would make like probably 30 to 40,000, right? During the fire season. If it was a good fire season, we got over 1,000 hours, we're coming back like 40,000, right? And on top of that, when you're off, they give you a little money to go to school so you can get your certifications, your certificates. You can attend academies. So, they'll go over all this stuff. You have to wait. Like it would take like a month. They'll do your background, get your information. They got to get your social security number. They got to make sure you even worked to make sure you're not frauding the government. Like they used to be really efficient, and like all this stuff was done by like paperwork, and people would look over, they'll do the groundwork. So as we advanced in time, we thought everything would be much more efficient on these government programs when we put in computers, because computers are faster thinking, um, autonomous items that can machinery that can pretty much calculate faster than any human, supposedly. But as you can see, these government programs became more and more as if the people that are running them are, we don't even know who's running them now. It's like they're not efficient like they used to be. That's all I'm trying to state in a nutshell. Um, I couldn't really understand why so many people were just able to get tons and tons of money. But like I said, me having a small business, um, and I never really made any large amount of money at all. And I thought to myself, I work hard. I go to school, work. I've been doing this for a while, you know. I'm almost done with school. I'm trying to efficiently, you know, s- expand my business. I have to come out of the pocket. I paid money to be on Amazon to sell my music. I set up an account. I paid on multiple platforms for my own job money that I worked, you know, and to see people get on these programs and abuse them. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many programs you see. Like, and I seen it recently with people that were living in Minnesota. They had people that came here from the Ivory, you know, well, I can't say the Well, some of them from the Ivory Coast, some of them from other places in another continent, but they were pretty much getting WIC, food stamps, um, Section 8 housing, um, tons of loans, able to get money to open up nonprofits, and were just scheming the government. I looked at the information that they put together for analysis. It was over $600 million. Can you imagine that? $600 million took it from taxpayers' pockets for individuals to sit back and scheme and take so many dollars from hard working citizens like me and you. You see what I mean? And these programs, they're just like, are they just handing out stuff to people that are pretty much not deserving of it? Are they just excluding people like us who work hard, who actually who own a professional business? Like, what I'm trying to state to you, like, I had to pay $2,000 out of my pocket plus 20, another 500 just to keep my stuff alive, my trademark. So I had to come out of my pocket for my job money. I had to pay again to another lawyer, and all this stuff comes out of my pocket. And I'm hard earned, manifesting money that is coming from out of my own blood and sweat. Okay. And to see a person that has no type of knowledge, no information, has fake identifications, using fake certifications, printing up false information that they graduated from colleges, and just multiple different things that they're doing, and we're able to get away with it for like 7 to 8 years. And if I park my car in the wrong area, I get a ticket. You know what I mean? And these people are just like they can go into the wrong area and never get touched. So I'm saying to myself, what is going on with the government programs? Are they working for people like us? Are they working against us and giving it to other people who are not deserving of this type of you know, valuable necessity? Because it's a necessity to get these fundings. You know what I mean? Some people really actually need the SNAP or the food stamp EBT program. Some people don't make a lot of money. Some people work part time. Some people have kids. They can't get a full time job because they have children they got to take care of, or elderly people they have to take care of. They have a mother or father, somebody they have to pretty much focus their energy on that depends on them to take them to hospital visits, things of this nature. So they don't have the time to do all these type of things. And they got to go to school. And then you can see a person who has nothing going for themselves, just a lazy ass person who's sitting back, manipulating, lying to people, conning people, and getting tons of money. And they just frauded everybody using these government programs, and nobody's back and fact checking nothing that they're giving them. Nothing. No fact checks. And you would think with these computers that has all this technology, which I'm using right now, you can hear me on the computer which I'm using. You see what I mean? On these forms of machinery that I'm using. And we can see to different planets. We can see to the stars. We can hook up. Now they have, I would say, what is those thing called? I'm trying to figure out the word right now. I apologize if I'm getting kind of foggy in the mind. But a telescope. Telescopes that allow you to hook your phone up to it, where you can stream live and look at stars, right? And you can have other people watching with you. So we have all this advanced information. How did we allow people to come to this country that we live in, scheme over $100 billion out of us, and to think that somehow we have the most efficient form of, power? It's crazy. And the programs that are meant for us, they're not even being used by us. They're being used by others who are scheming and don't even appreciate nothing that they're doing to receive these type of things, these fundings. So I don't know. It's really hard to understand what's going on here. I don't get it. I can't really evaluate it in my mind to come to a conclusion of any types of, logical thinking points to even say how to this, be, C, D, that goes together. 1 plus 1 is 2, and this is like a problem that's like A9 25 equals 40,000. And you're like, what? I can't even solve this equation. This is ass backwards. So, I don't know what to say. I'm just lost. I lost the words right now. But like I said, these acts are like they're way out of pocket. And then people are like, oh, got to get back to government for this and that and this and that. And I'm like, what? And some of these people, like, they're not even from this place that we grew up in. Now, I'm not trying to pick on anybody. Like I said, I have nothing against anybody that comes here legally, that hustles, that works hard, achieve, get their family in a better position. I don't have no problem. But for those that are doing all these type of schemes and scams and taking tons of money and abusing these programs and lying to people and are able to just, function doing this on a daily basis, is there some type of program or some type of hidden agenda or government facility I don't know about that allows these people just to get away with this for the multiple amount of years that they have? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to really just digest all this bullshit. I'm trying my best, but sorry about that. I'm just sipping on a little buzz. Pretty good too. This is strawberry. I think it's Rita. I think I'm pronouncing it right. It's a cocktail, but pretty good. Pretty delicious too. But yeah. What's going on here? Why are we the ones being victimized here now? And then, in order for the government to get the money back that they lost and to recoup back the money, they're taking the taxes to become more and more higher. And people like me that are in my you know age group, you know, I'm probably going to be the last of those who's going to get Social Security in the future because by the time this is over with, there's going to be a lot of money that needs to be replaced. And in order to balance the books, because accounting, assets, liability, equity, all this has to be put in a position, and you have to recover and go back and look at all of the accounts, and it's just a lot that's going to be missing. And then I feel sorry for these kids and these other generations that I see these little kids every day, and I'm like, wow, these kids don't even know that they're going to be working their damn lives to the grave almost because we're going to run out of money. And it's crazy. And we're going to run out of money because we're allowing so much scheming to go on. And I kind of blame some of these adults for being so just, I don't know. It's just a loss of words. I know you want to feel sorry for certain people, but like I said, even me, I try to work multiple jobs. It seems like this society is not really rewarding those who want to be hard workers. They're rewarding the ones who want to be pieces of ish. It's like they're giving them the benefit of the doubt and they're removing people like me and other ones who want to work hard and place themselves in the position to show that they can be a pillar of their community and to do something proper and righteous. And the ones that don't want to do it and are scheming and scamming and bringing drugs here and doing all kind of stuff that's crazy and abusing these programs and human, trafficking, it's crazy. They reward these people and it takes them so long to catch these people. I don't know, but I'm just saying to you, the government programs have been attacked so much that they're finally putting a shutdown on certain things, and we're also coming to another government shutdown, right? And once again, it's for healthcare. So everything's shutting down, and certain people won't be getting money. So this is a lot of stuff in these programs that affect a lot of people, and I just don't understand. Like we had all this money years ago, and they wouldn't even fix none of the problems that we have here. So how are you always advocating for people all over the world and you can't even fix the place that you want these people to come to in the world? You see what I mean? Like it's crazy. It's like you want to put out advertisement for your amusement park, but then when the people get there, the fucking rides don't work. Excuse me, I don't mean to curse, but that's what it looks like here now. The rides don't work anymore. If the rides don't work anymore, then why are you inviting people to come to your amusement park and tell them that you have the best rides in the world? And then when they get there, the people are seeing that you have no security, so they're taking advantage and sneaking on all the rides and not paying. And there's other people who've been in line waiting properly to get on a ride, and they're questioning you, saying, "Hey, did this person pay like everybody else to get on a ride? Did they just go around the back and just sneak multiple people in and just get in line and just say, 'Hey, yeah, I'm here.'" And then they get the free service, and it's just crazy, man. These programs are pretty much being just a large catastrophic problem in this society now. And I'm not agreeing with this person that's in this position of power. Like I said, I didn't place my ballot for this person, but like I'm saying, I'm understanding why this person is doing what they're doing. And some things I truly agree on. Now, I don't agree on breaking up families or kids or children or doing anything that would cause anybody harm. I don't agree with removing people that are working hard, that are here, that are hard workers, that have no type of felonies, that are not doing anything that against the law. But those that are breaking the law, you know, I gotta say the law is here for a reason. I can't break it. You see what I mean? I cannot do anything that's against the law because I gotta pay every time. So if I can't break it, I feel the same way. You should follow the same rules. And that's why I said these programs exist because we follow the rules, we contribute to the programs, we put in the hard work to keep them going. And the reason why we keep them going because that's funding for us in the later years, and we want to keep something efficient, like a system running properly. But the programs that we have now from the government, they're under attack. You know what I mean? The food programs under attack. The housing programs are under attack. The loan programs are under attack. The just all kind of programs are under attack because people have came in and committed so much fraud and destruction. And with that said, I'm going to go into a song, a slapper. I'm going to come back and I'm going to speak on it again. And this is about the cowardly acts, not revolution, just cowardly acts. Let's talk about it. All right, all right, all right, all right. So yeah, when I mention cowardly acts, I seen a dude online and he said the PPP loans and the loans that we do and all this stuff that we done is to create a revolution. I said to myself, a revolution? I said, what type of revolution are you creating? So I'm like, either this man is delusional, either he's trying to get to a point. So, you know, I always listen to people because I don't want to cut them off because I don't really understand sometimes where certain people come from. And then sometimes you don't want to be a person that is quick to judge somebody without really doing your research, sitting down, finding out about them, having a face to face, or either just getting to know the person. You know what I mean? Because sometimes looks can be deceiving. You know what I mean? A person can look like a sweet little cat and can be a fearsome, powerful wolf. And a person can look like a wolf and be a sweet little cat. So you don't really know what a person is really saying. So you got to kind of, you know, take the better judgment and think, critical thinking. That's what they call it. So when he said that, he was like, "Oh yeah, we got to get back at the government for all the stuff they did to everybody in the lifetime." And I'm thinking to myself, okay. So as I go through this gentleman's background, I'm seeing that, okay, he's been to jail. So I'm like, okay, you know, I know a lot of political people who've been to jail. I know a lot of different people who have, you know, stood up for causes, you know, like for apartheid, for freedom marches, for, raises, or just multiple things that they have stood for, protests for animals, for, to feed people, children, for human rights. I can understand it. Sometimes you're going to go to jail. You're going to, you know what I mean? But when I look at this gentleman's background, he's a pedophile. So I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so he's admitting that he frauded the government and he did it for a revolution. I'm like, And this got me to start thinking to myself, like, okay, when we look at a lot of these acts that people are doing and they're saying, oh, I'm doing it for a revolution to fight against the powers that be. And are they really fighting against the powers that be? Are they really just fighting against themselves because they don't want to be in a better position to do righteousness? And they feel that anarchy and chaos and creating a turmoil for, of just chaos is much more efficient now. Because, no disrespect, ever since some of these groups came out, the Lives Matter and Antifa and all these other groups came out, it's like people feel like as if being a chaotic person justifies everything that they're doing, and they're doing a revolution. But they don't look at the society they're hurting. They don't look at the people in the neighborhoods that they're destroying. They don't look at the kids that's going to have to deal with it in the long run. They don't look at the programs that may get shut down. They don't look at when they're saying defund law enforcement. What happens when criminals start taking all these areas? Because we've seen once again that when they said defund law enforcement, now I'm not against defunding certain people who need to be defunded for the criminal acts that they're doing, because we did see I think it was a sheriff office somewhere down south where they were selling drugs and using drugs, and they deserve that, right? But I'm not saying all people deserve that, and all people that are wearing that badge are not really against you. And then you using that as a way to, like, say you're doing a revolution. What's going to happen when these groups that have been moving into these places like they have been doing recently? Because a lot of these groups been busted now, and they have had human trafficking rings, child human trafficking rings, child exploitation, drug selling, growing large amounts of drugs in areas, in residential areas, committing mass fraud, just multiple things. And you defunding cuts off some of this, money that people will need to organize or to get efficient equipment, or even to get the efficient amount of force to catch these people. So, and then on top of that, when you're saying defund certain things, you could be cutting out stuff for children. It's just like, what are you really trying to act on? And what is this revolution about? Because sometimes it may not even be a revolution that you're really trying to push. You're just pushing chaos. Because like I said, when we see in some of these cities, when they had these riots and they were like tearing down these statues, some people were doing it for a purpose, right? To justify what happened through these events, through catastrophic racial disposition here. And then some people were just coming in and they were just dressed like the people who were protesting. They were bringing guns and breaking windows of businesses, and they were just being caught. So I'm saying to you, some of these people are cowardly and their acts are not revolution. They're just pretending that they're for a revolution. But when you really get a chance to decipher what they're doing and understand what they're there for, they're just there for chaos. And then we kind of seen that when that organization came to Chicago and they told all these young kids to go downtown and tear up all these things. And then we see later on all of the funding of those local neighborhoods. The stores moved out of those neighborhoods. We even seen it here in California, in Oakland, California. You see what I mean? It took one of the hardest hits in this area that we live in, and pretty much within California itself. You see what I mean? Like, I understand that revolution is for a purpose, right? But when you look at the revolution that you're participating in, is it going to benefit to increase the amount of income for your community? Is it going to help your community become much more established, efficient? Is it going to create good funding for children? Or is this something that you're just doing to take out frustration? Because now you become a neighborhood of nuisance, and that's really like some cowardly stuff to start attacking your own people in an area that don't have nothing. Like, just think about it. They're already suffering with nothing. You're coming there and you're talking about you're against the government, but you're burning and pillaging and breaking into cars and stomping on cars and starting doing sideshows in areas where people barely have any money and can't get rest, and they're already going through all types of mental anguish. Like, think about it. What revolution are you fighting? Just think about that first. Are you doing this for your own enjoyment of chaos or anarchy? And then you got to understand that too. You know, what you reap is what you sow. Because if you put that type of energy out, claiming you're doing a revolution and you're just doing chaos, that may trickle back to you. Because we seen a young man recently. I think it was on the Vallejo Bridge, the Carquenes Bridge. I think that is. And he tried to jump across and end up falling to his, demise. And what was all this about? They had shooting of weapons and, what was this really about? What was the whole situation about? Because there's so many places that people can meet that have no type of people around. You have tons of warehouses and garages and places that are not in perspective of other people, of living quarters that you can turn out and go do car sideshows or whatever you want to call it. Takeovers, right? But as you can see, you have multiple people getting hurt, getting hit, and people say, oh, this is a revolution. That's what I'm trying to state to you. What is the revolution about? Is it benefiting something? Are you getting something out of it? Because if it's taking somebody else's life and somebody else's life is being removed, how is that a revolution? You see what I mean? And then some people say, oh, some people got to leave in a revolution. No, that's not true, sir. There's a lot of revolutions that have been fought intelligently, and a lot of them have been fought economically and on a higher level of vibration to where people have got their point across without having to do anything that's out of pocket. You see what I mean? So if you want to make a real political revolution, tell all your friends who all want to do this to take $100 out of their pocket and y'all invest in buying a large area where y'all can do this at. And now you can do it legally. And now you started a new revolution to where now you making money off of what you're doing, and it's creating equity, liability, and you become an asset now. Now you're something of more power. Isn't that a revolution? Isn't that what it's really truly about? To become economically financial and to go against the machine and to create your own machine, but to just cause more chaos amongst the people that are just, pretty much villagers who are suffering and don't live in a big castle. It's crazy. And like I said, when these people did the Lives Matter movement, they did around a lot of, I think it was like $4 billion or more of damage. That's just in California. And there was a young lady who was in Oakland, California, and she had a prominent business selling clothing. And did you know her business was ransacked and destroyed by people in her own community talking about they're going against the government? So when I say that the cowardly acts, not revolution, that's what I mean. Cowardly acts are not revolution. If you're going to do something, go against the machine. If you really look at some of these people that have been something of what you would call like a kamikaze, they were going for calls. Like, These causes here that we see that are pretty much being displayed, some of them are not really on no real true revolution mindset. Um, we also had a lot of recent brass um events of live active people using firearms and you know pretty much evaporating other people's life force. I just want to say that in a much more clean manner because I don't want to say the other words. I don't want to say, because if I say this, algorithms will take me off if I use too much definition of what I'm trying to say. But yeah. And we see these people who are claiming to be revolutionaries and standing up for a cause. I don't know what cause you're standing up for when you start hurting other people because people make fun of you. I don't understand. That's another thing. I don't understand how people have become so weak-skinned. You see what I mean? And then claim to be allies of the revolutions of the past and to understand them. And you telling me that somebody calling you a name has made you so weak to where you want to start going out and hurting other people? You know how many names I've been called all my life? And I have never harmed anybody? That's the most funniest thing I ever heard before in my life. Somebody call you a racial name or say something about your gender, and now you need to go home and put together a list to hurt people because they did this to you, and you need to stand up for that revolution or this country or whatever. Like, what are you talking about? If you're gonna do something, why don't you save some money up and help out some people? Why don't you go to the country? Why don't you save up $50,000 and go fly out there and go marry somebody and bring them back and help their family out of poverty by bringing them here so they can get education and a job and become efficient and you can have children with them. And then now you're starting a revolution by helping them doing something positive. Why would you have to go and hurt other individuals just to get a point across? I never understood that. And then people say that's a revolution. No, it's not. That's chaos with no organization. But sometimes order is chaos when it comes to those who are mentally lost. And some people that are cowardly, that's what they choose to do. So yeah, when I say cowardly acts, not revolution, this is what we're talking about. And like I was saying to you, when it came to them loans and the monies and these different type of programs, some people are saying, oh, I got to get this government back because, blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop. Hey, man, I understand where you're coming from. I got you. Times is hard. But times is hard for everybody. And everybody is not running around here doing out-of-pocket activity just to get their point across in order to make people see them as some type of serious individuals and wanting to get their perspective heard. So, it's multiple other ways. Like I said, man, we got social media. We got different ways, platforms. We got just so many ways you can get heard now in a positive manner. And then connecting with people now too also in social groups. It's just so many religious groups. You can get things done. But to go out the cowardly way and to say your acts are revolution when you're harming innocent people, that's not no revolution, bro. You're a coward. When you causing chaos and becoming a neighborhood a nuisance and you're pretty much enforcing the same thing you claim that the higher powers are doing to you and you're doing it to people around you, what revolution are you really, what are you really standing on? I don't know, bro. But this day and age, we kind of don't really have any truth anymore to see. People are really living a lost fantasy somehow. And I guess they think this is a video game, like you get an extra life or something. So but this is one life, one shot. And you got to get it right. And you got to do it professionally, and you have to do it very in a common, respectable manner. Treat people like how you want to be treated. Put it like that. So yeah, that was my second topic. I'm going to come back, talk about it. This is the Rose Room discussion with MLRose. All rights reserved for my trademark Intelligent Sounds since 2019. So I'm going to get to another slapper slumper. I'll be right back. Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. This is the Rose Room discussion. All right. So we went over two first topics: the government programs, the cowardly acts, not revolution. And now I want to tie them all in to now we are evaluations. So when I state this comment, I'm meaning this right here on this topic. Now that everything is being put in perspective, now that we're seeing the shutdown of the government, we're seeing all these people waiting out these different situations, issues, social issues, economic issues, political issues, identification of race, culture, everything that we're going through, the loans, the money, the programs, the SNAP, the unemployment, we're now being evaluated. We're now the evaluations. So these people are sitting back thinking, what will they do with us? They have shut down everything in their Oval offices to come to agreement to figure out whether or not certain things will be reliable anymore. We have seen the Medicaid and Medi-Cal change. Now it's able for you to pay into certain programs, and now you can get dental. Now people don't get the free everything that they want anymore. So it's stuff is moving very quickly. And these evaluations are coming fast. We're seeing people being taken from their families because they're being evaluated by these different groups of the law enforcement system. I could just say it like that way. And with that being done, we're seeing that people being evaluated for the loans that they took, the unemployment that they lied about. Because we know, like I said, about 4 billion people are now being seen. They're going over your information. These acts of cowardly so-called revolution that people claim that we're doing, you seen they're going back and catching them. You see that they're evaluating everything you're doing now. We are now the evaluations for these programs, for our livelihood, for the things that we are being held accountable for stuff that we should have not done, for things that we should have came together and done while we had the time to. And it's just now it's a big evaluation. You know, you come into the point to where I'm saying we it's like we're almost getting audited. You know, if you know about what an audit is when they come at the end, they put together all the information, they figure out what did you spend, how it was spent, where it was spent at, why is this missing, where's this at. It's like now all this is coming to a forefront, and I think people were not thinking that they were going to get caught and evaluated and get seen for the stuff that they did. I feel that people thought that this is going to be a joyful ride, and this ride was going to just keep going. And, you know, you've seen that the government switched hands. You know, they switched sides. They went from the blue to the red now. So now it's a whole different sport. You know, we're playing baseball. Now we switched over to football. So now you got to change up your whole gear because everything is hitting different. It's not the same, you know. So we're not really truly understanding. And like I said to you, you see now people are getting kicked off these programs because their evaluation came up and people are like, hey, you've been on this program for 20 years. You haven't went to school. You haven't got a job. You haven't tried to get a business. You haven't tried to nothing. What have you been doing for all this time? And like I said, this is why I go to school, because I know that a lot of this stuff may end. I don't know if this stuff is going to be around next year. And see, me having an education and having a trade and having a degree, that gives me much more efficient step up to be able to be some type of source of, of priority for me to get in my foot into the door for somebody. They're looking at me as an asset. Now, another person that may have just been sitting on these programs and just have come up to the valuation now, they may not have made the right decision or put together the right proper planning and just thought that this is going to be a full ride. And then when they got to the door now, they don't have no education. They have no trade. They have nothing to offer. And if these people just start cutting and pulling the plug on all these programs, you know, you've been evaluated. You have now been handed your paperwork. And what you don't want to get is something saying that you're non-service. You're not efficient. You feel me? You are inferior and they are superior, meaning that they don't really need you no more. And if you don't, get yourself in line with something, what are you going to do when it comes to these hard times that may come up? I don't know what's going to happen. But I already had told people, hey, this shutdown is coming. Some people didn't hear it, and here we are again. We already know what happened with the last shutdown. You know what I mean? And we already know what happened with the last, I'm not going to say, I'm just going to say, how can I put this without messing up the algorithm? The little sticks of candy. Thank you. Little sticks of candy that they were handing out. And with these sticks of candy, They had so many flavors, and we see what happened with these flavors and all the chaos. And remember, everything was shut down. And, a lot of business was affected by this. So, and we're seeing now they're tightening up ship. People is getting their evaluation papers. They're being told now that they made mistakes and did this and did that, and hey, you got to come pay back, or hey, you're out of here, or hey, you haven't been efficient with your productivity. So now it's like, hey, you're ended, you're gone. So when it comes to this, now we are being evaluated. We are the evaluations. We're sitting on these desks. Our profiles, our resumes, our applications that we put in years ago for the company. Now they're evaluating whether or not should they keep you? Should they get rid of you? Should they cut the programming around you? These things are real. I know people may listen to this and laugh like, oh, he's talking about evaluations and all this. Like, this ain't no damn. No, I'm saying it in layman terms. As in now, you're going to come face to face with the truth. And these people are going to give you information about certain things that you may have been benefiting from that could become you're not going to be able to get it no more. Because them going over your information and seeing what you have been pretty much storing and getting for all these years, and you have not been efficient with it and have not been able to create anything out of it, it's a waste of time that they're pretty much going to say that you don't deserve it anymore. See what I mean? So you have to kind of figure out, what are you going to do? What steps are you going to take? How are you going to put together a plan? You can't depend on these people no more. Like I was telling my, family member, hey, we got to learn how to do certain things for self. Hunting, shooting, fishing. We got to learn all these type of things. We don't know if we may get kicked back into the Stone Age. We don't know if power may go out off the grid. We don't know if they may lose. We don't know what may happen here. We don't know if all this funding may get shut down. What happens then? You see what I mean? Do you know how to grow food? Do you have a farming techniques and skills? Can you cater to chickens, raising them, hens? Do you know how to take care of pigs, cows? Do you have any efficiency on how to grow plants? Because like I said, everything is pretty much on a standpoint. And these people are facing off, and they're making us the evaluations, and they're evaluating what to do with these funds. And as you can see, they're already removing people's jobs. And most of these people are not going to get paid, right? So what does that mean? You see what I mean? We're in this, and it's like we don't really know what's going to happen. And I don't mean to say this to try to get people all, offensive or get upset. And, I'm just saying, hey, right now, think about your assets. Think about what your worth is. Think about your value, what you can do, and how you can maneuver about the situation if something pop off. Because we don't know what's going to happen. And you're already seeing that a lot of these people that we thought were leaders, they're being caught for a lot of fraud and craziness. Like I said, and look at the one in Minnesota. Fraud. Look at the ones here in California, to Los Angeles, San Diego, to the Bay Area, and every midpoint in between in California. City elective officials, people within our counties or in our state, they're being caught themselves for using fraud tactics, stealing money. And they had good jobs. They were evaluated without even knowing that they were being evaluated. They became the evaluation. Somebody audited them. They did an audit on them and figured out, hey, this person has been misplacing funds. So, yes, this is where we're at this point in time. a standstill pretty much, and we're just at a standoff. We don't know what's going to happen, you know. And I'm seeing people. I seen a lady and her son. They were living in, I would say, Santa Rosa, and they've been living in an apartment complex that's nice. And they told these people they had to move. They just gave them $10,000 and told them they had to move. And said the housing was not for them. You see what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying to you. We have become the evaluation now. You know, I had a certain point here where I'm at, you know. I was being evaluated because some of the people that was in these enforcement agencies thought I was exaggerating because I told them about my somebody had stole my knife. I had 3 knives. Somebody came into my apartment, stole some sweatpants, just miscellaneous stuff. Stole one of my hoodies I paid like $90 something for. Damn near came up to 100 and something. And just other stuff that, you know what I mean? And with them, they didn't believe me. I had to sit here and convince some of the maintenance people to change my lock on my door because they were evaluating. I became an evaluation like as if I'm just exaggerating this stuff, you know, like, no. I had to sit here and show this man, the person that pried into my door, take pictures of it, had to, hey, you know what? If you don't help me, I'm going to put this out of here. You see what I mean? Because I'm not playing around. I'm not lying to you. I wouldn't just give my hood to somebody else or my stuff, my personal stuff that I know somebody can get hurt with. And, you know, and like I said, I became an evaluation for a while. They didn't believe me until some proof and information showed up that everything I was saying was true. But like I said to you, everybody's going to meet their time and moment to where they're going to get seen for something. You know, everything that's in the dark will come to the light. So evaluations are happening now. We are becoming the evaluations. So all these things that you're seeing right now, the government programs that are being taken advantage of by these people, stealing Social Security money, lying, stealing PPP loans, fraud, stealing unemployment, COVID money, welfare when they were even, you know, with no children. Just, it's now being seen because a lot of these acts that people claimed that they were doing a revolution against the government, you seen it was cowardly stuff that now is going to affect these children, is going to affect our outcome of the people who actually pay taxes, who work, who's been working for years. We have not just came out of nowhere from some unknown place and just started frauding everybody. And we can't leave this country we live in, right? We're stuck here. See what I mean? Most of these other people that's doing this, they can get out of here. You see what I mean? This is where we're from. And what's going to happen now? Now we're all getting our evaluations based upon stuff other people have done that is affecting us. And some of us have affected each other through these type of little cowardly acts. And I don't know really what to say, but I'm just saying to you, the truth always comes to light. And you can't really hide for long when you're doing something that's out of pocket. You know what I mean? You can try your best to deceive and make it look good. You know, like they said, fake it till you make it. But the truth is going to always come to light, period. So, you know, I'm not trying to get anybody, like I said, into any disposition. I don't want them to feel bad. I don't want you to feel bad about yourself. I'm not saying that you did something wrong. Like this lady just was saying on the TV before I was watching on YouTube. I can understand if you got the PPP loan because you're going to get kicked out. You had kids. You had to get to work. You had no transportation. See, I can understand certain people's justifications of certain things based upon the lack of or things that they actually need. But those that are just greedy tyrants and pieces of ish that's just doing stuff that's just out of pocket, plain insane, I can't really vibe with you. I don't see you as a person of any recognition. I can't figure you out because you're not really standing on any true morals and no principles. And these are not acts of a person that's doing a revolution to create something to help everybody out where everybody's going to benefit from it. It's going to cause more problems and chaos. And these programs that we need based upon you doing these type of things can get shut down and cause harm to us, the children, and the society itself for the near future. And now when you get evaluated or you get your evaluation, you don't really care because some of you can just get out of here and just disappear like a phantom. You don't give a damn. And that's really sad, but this is how we're moving now. Like I said, these people that's doing these type of just, mass of evaporation of people's life force is just showing you that we're living in a very, very lost situation right now in society. And I'm hoping everything does change, but we don't really know. And I just say, like I said, pray for the best, but prepare for the worst. You see what I mean? There's just somebody who told me that a long time ago. They said, keep praying for the best, but always be prepared if something happens. Like I said, make sure you have your things prepared because, make sure you get everything legal. Like I told before, I said, hey, if you have no felonies, you're not a criminal, you're not involved in anything against the law. There's a lot of jobs, a lot of employment that allow you to get your legal carry, your legal things of that nature, to get your protection for you and your family. Put together a plan. Just be prepared because, like I said, this society is a evaluation moment now. We're in a moment to where now things is going to be really seen through a fine tooth. They're going to go through everything with a fine tooth comb. You see what I mean? And they're watching people with a microscope right now. And some people, like I said, they've been getting away with some dirty stuff for a while, but hopefully this will be an end to all this nonsense. But like I said, I'm praying for the best, but be prepared for what can happen. And that's what we do here. You know what I mean? This is the Rose Room discussion. Like I said, I don't talk about celebrity gossip. I don't talk about celebrities. I don't talk about stuff that's racial, too much divide. I talk about things that are important that other people don't talk about. I want to get to some real truth and information and speak on things that are going to affect you and your life. I don't want to talk about stuff that we've seen on TV or some damn entertainer's body or their butt cheeks or something that's irrelevant to anything that can help you in life, because that's not going to give you anything of any significance anyway. Yes, this is what I do. Right now I'm looking at this mantis, praying mantis on the roof. So I'm going to try to get him up out of here. He seemed to be moving around now, but yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you for joining me. Like I said, the first topic was government programs. I got into how they have been affected, all the money that has been taken from them, how now some of them are being cut, and some of them are going to cause mass problems to families, individuals, and those who really actually need them. I got into the cowardly acts, not revolution. These acts that have been going on recently of people, like I said, running around here pow pow and not caring about other people's life force and thinking that they're doing some type of revolutionary act when they just done a cowardly act. And the people who think that they are taking advantage of this system that affects these government programs that affect the families and children of the future, and their cowardly acts of taking monies away from those who really actually need them, who now can't get them based upon their whole demeanor, what they feel that they were doing for some type of revolutionary movement that really didn't affect anything but them just buying some damn cars, jewelry, and stupidity. And then now, like I said, now we are the evaluations. Now we are getting looked at. These people are getting looked at. Everything is being watched. And We're at a shutdown point with the government. We're at a shutdown point with a lot of different racial, cultural things in society. People are, you know, looking at other people in a different manner because you're starting to find out certain people didn't like certain people culturally. Certain things were going on that was dispositions, certain things that were going on around you with the government, with some of these officials, and they're being seen for what were doing this whole time, and everybody's getting their evaluations. You know, this is what we're getting right now. People are showing you what you've been doing, and if your hands are dirty, I suggest you get them real clean as possible because these people are not playing now, man. They are not playing. Okay. So once again, this is the Rose Room discussion with MLRose. All rights reserved on my trademark, Intelligent Sounds. I appreciate you if you listen. I appreciate you if you listen afterwards. I appreciate you because I'm streaming right now on multiple platforms. If you listen in, thank you. Hope you have a good weekend. And I'm about to go get this damn menace off the roof. But other than that, yeah. Once again, I'm gonna leave you with a slapper slumper. And I appreciate you.